Nepo baby Blake Lively, Nepo bitch, and her husband, not so nice after all pool. It might turn out that this is what Ryan Reynolds looks like on the inside. Look at this tart. That's what I'd call her. I'd call her a tart. And I don't even know what that word means. It rhymes with fart, but it's like a posh fart. A tart. Nepo baby. On the subject of Nepo bitches, okay, look, we're all Nepo bitches because we all won the sperm lottery, right? Some of us were born in strong countries. I was born in Toronto to fairly wealthy parents, so I'm a Nepo baby. So let's talk about Nepo babies for a little bit. There's two kinds of Nepo babies. There's the kind like Donald Trump, who were given everything, but decided to just it meant that they were special, and they just spend their whole lives acting like spoiled brats. And then there's the other kind that actually realize how lucky they are, and they work really hard. I, for example, although I was born into a small degree of privilege, I never wanted a fancy car or to have a lot of money. I actually hated all of that. But this Nepo bitch, she enjoyed all of it. Look at her wearing that stupid hat. Nobody should wear that stupid hat. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Wyatt Earp. Her face screams what a terrible human being she is. I mean, I've never looked twice at her because she was always nothing to me. I mean, what did she do? She did stupid romance movies. She's just the hot chick, the token hot chick in every movie she's ever been in. But I've already shown you what Ryan Reynolds looks like on the inside, so it would be appropriate to show you what Blake Lively looks like on the inside. This is what she really looks like. She didn't want this picture to get out. I think it magically happens when she takes off her stupid hat. Okay, so look, we are all Nepo babies. Fine, you know. You won the sperm just by winning the sperm lottery makes you a Nepo baby. Okay. This bears repeating, okay? Being born to wealthy parents, to be born in the United States or Canada or wherever, England, any affluent country, you automatically have more privileges than 99% of the human population. But what earns you the term Nepo baby when it is said derogatorily? And I don't think there's a nice way of calling somebody a Nepo baby. It's actually very simple. When you act and live like a jerk. This dunce utilized every privilege she ever got from her rich parents or rich husband. She used it so that she could trounce on other people. The people that she especially enjoys treating like shit are people who are not Nepo babies, or people who were born into hardship. What would Blake Lively say if she met, like, I don't know, somebody in Ukraine or Gaza or somewhere, some country that's starving? How would she treat those people? She would say, "Oh, get me away from them. Oh, hold my jacket while I'll be back in an hour. You don't need food. Give me a break. I can get food. Food's the easiest thing to get. If you want food, you should work as hard as I do, because I work really hard." Nepo babies think that work means showing up to your job, and we're going to say that in quotes, showing up to your job and being a jerk to everybody and getting everything you want and power tripping. I don't call that a job because you're enjoying yourself when you're just flattering your ego and getting paid for it. I know what a Nepo bitch is when I see one because I was one at times in my life. A Nepo bitch is someone whose father owns the restaurant and they get a job, let's say, sweeping the floors. And they show up, and they say, I'm going to wear this stupid hat to work even though everybody else has to wear a uniform. And I don't feel like sweeping. Okay, I'll sweep for 1 second. God, this job sucks. This is bullshit. I don't even need this job. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to go to work drunk. That'll be fun. And I can't get fired because my dad owns the restaurant. And I'm going to treat my coworkers like shit because I can. Because my father owns the restaurant. And I want that guy over there fired because he didn't tell me how pretty my hat is. And nobody's ever allowed to tell me that this is what I really look like, because that's way out of line. While I make fun of their faces, I'm going to make fun of how short they are, how stupid they are, how tall they are, I'm going to call everybody ugly. And I don't care. I'm just being wild and cool and shocking and stuff. But don't ever tell me that this is what I really look like, because that's out of line, you know. And if you really push it with me, I'll bring in my husband, who's even uglier than I am on the inside. Look at him. Here's my husband. He's not such a nice pool. In Deadpool 4, Ryan Reynolds should bring in a new character called Dead Career. And it's a character who screwed it all up by marrying a Nepo baby bitch, and for being a piece of crap himself on the inside. And he'd be like, no, I didn't get cancer. This wasn't the cause of an experiment. This is the way my face really is. Now, is this little prick a Nepo baby? Well, okay, no, not in the sense that his parents were wealthy and got him a career. But again, winning the sperm lottery. He was born tall. He was born attractive. He was born in Vancouver, which is a pretty good place to be born, you know, when if you've got acting aspirations, you know what I mean? And he got a lot of luck. I'm starting to doubt whether he worked hard to get where he is, since now I know that he steals from others. You know, I'm from Toronto, so I really liked this guy. He was one of my favorite actors, and I don't even like actors, so that's saying something. I really liked this guy. It's such a shame. Shame for him, I guess. Shame for me, because I can never watch his movies again, I guess. I guess the Nepo babies, sometimes they fly too close to the sun. Not everybody can get away with everything the way Trump did. You know, I'm from Toronto. I thought it was really cool the way he had the CN Tower, which I used to live right beside. He had that featured in Deadpool and Wolverine. But enough about me. Let's get back to the Nepo bitch. Ooh! Who let this nasty looking thing into the bar? Get her out! Get it out! What is it? Ugh! Flake likely. Where's your stupid hat now? This spoiled brat is so stupid. She probably thinks that if she wears this hat into court, it'll win her the case. Spoiled brat. That's a good term. I prefer it to Nepo baby. Spoiled. She's as in rotten. Like spoiled egg, you know, rotten egg. No longer useful. No longer good, edible. You know what you do with spoiled brats? The same thing you do with rotten eggs. You throw them out, and you close the bag tightly so that it doesn't stink, and you get rid of it as soon as possible because flies might be attracted to it. Or maybe she's not a Nepo baby at all. Maybe she's a witch. She looks like a witch. Like, is that a witch hat? Oh, and to have the end of your career come right at this time in your life when you're like, what, 38? And your looks are going to go like at hyperspeed? Sorry, women, but, you know, if you're in the acting career, your looks are gone at 38. You're going to be playing a grandmother soon, if you get any role at all. No, I don't think I despise her as much as I despise Amber Heard for what she did. But there's still time. She's still growing on me like a tumor. I have a certain degree of empathy, and at first, you know, there's a part of me that's, oh, I feel sorry for this person, I feel sorry for people when they do bad things. So I'm like, oh my God, they're going to feel so bad. But then I have to remind myself, no, such a person does not feel bad. If anything, they're angry and they're blaming other people. They're blaming the victim for putting them in this position. That's how bad the Nepo baby, the spoiled brat shit goes. That's how deeply she's a spoiled brat. Get her out of here. Light your torches and run her out of town. Chase her to a castle where she has to run inside and then with torches and set fire to the... Burn the witch. And let that be an example to further Nepo bitches. To future spoiled brats. And same with this fuckhead. Now these two retards are still high on their own supply, right? They still think, they're still in denial about what's going on, right? Everything is everybody else's fault. All little Mr. Not So Nice Fool has to do is make a funny little joke, and everybody's gonna love him again. It's not, the truth hasn't set in yet. I don't know. I think he was always a spoiled brat. I was a spoiled brat, and I was very, very arrogant, and I still am. So I can tell you, he was probably a spoiled brat. And you gotta go easy. You gotta, be patient with these spoiled brats when they have to get disillusioned and realize that they're not, king and queen of the castle. I'll give you a little anecdote. If you're at least 30 years old, you probably know exactly who this is. This is a little man named Derek Whibley. He was in a band called Sum 41, which was like, I call them like a 10th rate Nirvana. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Okay, so there's Nirvana that was actually like real for what they were. Okay, I'm not saying they were great or anything, but they were whatever. They were the first of the grunge. Then you got the second rate Nirvanas, which were like Offspring and Green Day. Then you got the third rate, which is like Blink 182. Then you got the fourth rate, which is like Good Charlotte, and it just keeps getting worse, like more bubblegum, more crap. Then you got Sum 41, which is just like a joke of a band. They were from Ajax, which is like a shithole town, somewhere north of Toronto. It's just this poor place where like poor people buy houses because that's the only place you can afford it. It's a town famous for being a joke of a town. And but his band somehow got big. They had a song on Malcolm in the Middle. Their video was featured in Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. Like, they got their song to play at the end of it. And I don't know how they managed that. And he got to date Paris Hilton. And he was married to Avril Lavigne. This ugly little guy, right? On top of the world at, like, say, the age of 20. But then, like every one-hit wonder, he didn't have another hit. And he faded into obscurity. And about maybe 10 years ago, I saw him in a downtown bar called the Bovine Sex Club. It's on Queen Street in Toronto. And very striking was how small he was. Like, he was like 5'2". I was thinking I could fit him in my pocket. And it was just like, wow, like, what a fall from grace. Imagine being this like big famous band, and now you're broke, and you know you're going to be broke for the rest of your life, and you're going to have to work in a supermarket. And it was sad. It was really sad. And guess what? Doofus here is right in going in that direction. She might not realize it yet. Others may be in denial, but she'll probably not have to work in a supermarket. But I mean, her little night at the prom, her Cinderella, the clock has struck 12 and she's She's turning into a pumpkin. And Doofus has the same fate. I mean, you know, they say at the end of the game, the king and the pawn end up in the same box. So yeah, we're all headed towards oblivion. But some of us, it's harder for us, these two anyways, because they thought they were gods, and it's going to be really, really difficult. They're in for such a rough time. I don't think, if I had to take a bet, I would bet they're not going to want him back as Deadpool. That's how bad I think this is for him. But let's be patient. I'm not saying let's be compassionate, but let's be patient with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, because it's going to take them some time to process the fact that their career has ended. And a fate worse than death, they don't get to just die. They have to live now as commoners in their middle to old age. And I'd like to say it's tragic, but I find it wonderful. It's just so nice to see. Bad people get what they deserve, and I want them to live a long life so they can suffer. And I mean, at such a time as this, I would just console Ryan and little Blakey, and I'd say, look, at least you're not P. Diddy, right? At least you're not in jail. I mean, that's the best you can say. I mean, I wouldn't want to be with Blake Lively, of course, or Ryan Reynolds. If I could trade money, no, because the money also means that I lose those years of which I did things that I think were more productive than what those two idiots, those two clowns did with their careers. I don't care how many hundreds of millions of dollars you have. But I'd say, look, guys, just cheer up. At least you're not P. Diddy, because that's even worse. These two idiots get to live out the rest of their lives in a really nice house on a beach with plenty of money and expensive food and waiters, people serving servants, and they have to watch on television how they are no longer on TV, how the whole world has forgotten about them. That is their punishment, and in some ways that's worse. Maybe P. Diddy has it better, because I don't know, at least you can kind of just sit there in jail and just kind of meditate or something. They gotta just watch other rising stars while they just age out and watch themselves decompose, which it really is what aging is. So, as I've said before, thank you for all the fun, you two crazy Nepo spoiled brat babies. And, you can go now. The end. It's over. Goodbye. Thank you and goodbye.